My starting point when it comes to the consideration of any issue relating to free speech is my passionate belief that the second most precious thing in life is the right to express yourself freely. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested.
Did Rowan Atkinson just reveal Keir Starmer's darkest secrets? The beloved comedian behind Mr. Bean has stepped into the political arena, and his words are sending shockwaves through Westminster. In a stunning revelation, Atkinson exposes how Starmer's policies could threaten the very fabric of British comedy. And that's not all. Wait until you hear what he says about Labour's stance on free speech. A wake-up call that has left politicians scrambling for answers. Rowan Atkinson's foray into political commentary has caught many off guard. The man known for slapstick humour and witty performances has suddenly emerged as a vocal critic of Keir Starmer's policies. A stark contrast to the entertainer who has made millions laugh, now addressing serious concerns about the future of free speech in Britain.
Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay, or the teenager arrested for calling the Church of Scientology a cult because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile.
Atkinson's criticism isn't just a fleeting comment. It's a calculated move that threatens to shake the very foundations of Labour's carefully crafted image. He doesn't mince words when expressing his fears about the direction Keir Starmer is taking the party, particularly regarding freedom of expression in comedy. The comedian's concerns aren't unfounded. In recent years, there's been a troubling trend of performers facing severe backlash and even censorship for their jokes. Take the case of Count Dankula, fined $800 for teaching his dog to perform a Nazi salute as a joke, or consider how Jimmy Carr faced calls for prosecution over a controversial Holocaust joke. These incidents paint a worrying picture of comedy's future in the UK, and it seems the cumulative effect of such events, combined with Labour's proposed policies, has pushed Atkinson to a breaking point. He sees a fundamental right at stake, the freedom to express oneself through humour, no matter how provocative or offensive some might find it. In his view, comedy serves as a vital pressure valve for society, allowing people to confront uncomfortable truths and challenge the status quo. And without this freedom, we risk sliding into a sanitized world where genuine creativity and social commentary are stifled. The timing of Atkinson's stand is crucial. As Labour positions itself as the party of change, his criticism exposes a potential Achilles heel in their platform, raising questions about how Starmer's policies might impact not just comedians, but anyone who values free expression in Britain. Atkinson is so concerned because the answers to these questions reveal a troubling disconnect between Keir Starmer's public promises and the potential consequences of his party's agenda. Remember when Starmer promised to be the guardian of free speech and the patron of the arts? Those commitments now seem like a distant memory, as recent Labour policies have sparked outrage among comedians, with some calling them censorious in the most intimidating sense. What's really behind this dramatic shift, and how deep does the hypocrisy go? Starmer's political journey has taken an unexpected turn. When he first stepped into the spotlight as Labour leader, he painted himself as a champion of free expression and a staunch supporter of the arts, making grand promises to protect the right to speak freely and nurture Britain's creative industries. These pledges resonated with many, including those in the comedy world, who saw him as a potential ally in their fight against creeping censorship. But over time, a troubling pattern emerged, as Labour's stance on expression and comedy shifted in a direction that many found deeply concerning. Comedians like Rowan Atkinson began sounding the alarm, pointing to specific policy proposals that appear to threaten the very foundations of British humour. One of the most worrying aspects of Starmer's new approach is its potential impact on the UK's comedy scene. The policies being advanced could create an environment where comedians feel they are constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to push boundaries or tackle controversial topics, producing a sanitised, watered-down version of British comedy that loses its traditional bite and cultural relevance. The disconnect between Starmer's words and actions is increasingly apparent. While he continues to pay lip service to free speech, his party's policies tell a different story, and it is this hypocrisy that has comedians like Atkinson up in arms, fearing for the future of creative expression in Britain. A politician who once promised to protect their rights now seems to be working to undermine them, and Rowan Atkinson's critique of Keir Starmer's policies as an attempt to tarnish comedy culture in Britain cuts to the heart of the issue. It's not just about a few controversial jokes or edgy comedians, it's about preserving a fundamental aspect of British culture, the ability to laugh at ourselves and our leaders, using humour as a tool for social commentary and criticism. The consequences of these policies extend far beyond comedy, striking at the very heart of free expression in Britain, and potentially setting a dangerous precedent for how speech is regulated and controlled. The ripple effects of this shift could be felt across all aspects of society, from the arts to journalism and beyond. Picture a comedy club where every joke is vetted by lawyers. It sounds like a punchline, but for British comedians, it's becoming an alarming reality. The incidents that have led to this situation are as shocking as they are absurd. A man arrested for calling a police horse gay, a teenager in legal hot water for labelling Scientology a cult, a cafe owner hauled in for displaying Bible passages on a TV screen. These aren't sketches, they're real. Events that have British comedians questioning every word they utter. Atkinson, the beloved face of Mr. Bean, has sounded the alarm on a wave of self-censorship sweeping through entertainment, noting that the chilling effect hits hardest for those without the shield of celebrity. My concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile, he stated. This silencing of voices before they even have a chance to be heard threatens creativity and artistic expression in the UK, undermining comedy's core purpose: to challenge norms, provoke discussion, and hold a mirror up to society. If comedians are constantly looking over their shoulders, the result is a sanitised, toothless version of British humour, stripped of its ability to tackle controversial topics or speak truth to power. If this trend continues, the long-term damage to British culture could be severe. A nation renowned for sharp wit and biting satire risks losing a fundamental part of its identity, and the vibrant, diverse cultural landscape that has produced some of the world's most iconic comedians could become a bland, homogenised wasteland of safe jokes and unchallenging content. But all hope is not lost. As public awareness grows and more voices join Atkinson's, there is a chance to push back against creeping censorship. The question remains whether it will be enough to reclaim Britain's proud tradition of fearless comedy. In the wake of Atkinson's revelations, a curious phenomenon is unfolding. Public opinion polls are showing a seismic shift in attitudes toward free speech and comedy, revealing trends that are both unexpected and potentially game-changing for British politics. The British public seems to have found its voice, forming an unexpected alliance of growing frustration with political correctness and censorship, with Atkinson's comments becoming a rallying cry for those who feel their right to laugh is under threat. Social media has exploded with support for comedians' rights, with hashtags advocating free expression trending across platforms, creating a roar of discontent that is impossible to ignore. Yet this groundswell of support is not without detractors. The clash between advocates for stricter speech laws and free speech supporters has intensified, creating a cultural divide that plays out in public debates and online forums, a battle for the soul of British humour, with both sides claiming the moral high ground. The polls paint a clear picture of a shifting landscape. A significant majority of respondents express concern over the chilling effect of censorship on artistic expression, fearing that the very essence of British comedy, its ability to push boundaries and challenge authority, is at risk. This sentiment crosses political lines, uniting people who might otherwise disagree on everything else. Particularly striking is the emergence of a grassroots movement supporting comedians and free speech, with organised protests and petitions gaining traction as ordinary citizens step up to defend their right to laugh without fear of repercussion. The movement is catching politicians off guard, forcing them to reconsider their stance on these issues, with profound implications for British politics and culture. As this groundswell grows, it is likely to impact future elections and political campaigns, as candidates will need to address public concerns about free speech if they hope to resonate with voters who feel let down by current leadership. It's a reminder that in a democracy, power ultimately lies with the people, and right now, the people are demanding the right to laugh freely. As this battle for Britain's sense of humour reaches a critical point, one thing is clear: comedy has emerged as an unexpected battleground for fundamental rights, and the public's response may well shape the future of free expression in the UK. The question remains: will politicians listen, or will they continue to underestimate the power of a good joke? The polls tell a story of a political and cultural mood shift. A clear majority now worry that censorship is chilling artistic expression and putting the very soul of British comedy at risk. Its instinct to provoke, transgress, and puncture authority. What's striking is how this concern cuts cleanly across party lines, uniting people who otherwise agree on almost nothing. Out of that unease, a grassroots movement has begun to take shape, with protests, petitions, and vocal public support for comedians and free speech gaining momentum, as ordinary citizens push back against the idea that laughter should come with consequences. This surge has caught politicians flat-footed, forcing them to rethink positions they assumed were safe, and its implications for British politics and culture are potentially profound. As the movement grows, it is increasingly likely to influence future elections and campaign messaging, with candidates under pressure to address free speech anxieties if they want to reconnect with voters who feel betrayed by the current leadership. It serves as a sharp reminder that, in a democracy, power ultimately rests with the public. And right now, that public is insisting on the freedom to laugh without fear. With comedy now an unlikely frontline in the struggle over fundamental rights, the response of the people may end up shaping the future of free expression in the UK. The lingering question is whether politicians will finally listen, or once again underestimate the quiet force of a well-timed joke.